What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the Ragin Ronin review. Got a review for you. Last weekend, I checked out The Predator. It's the fourth film in the Predator franchise, which got kicked off in the late 80s with Predator. It was directed by John McTiernan, and it starred Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it ended up being one of the greatest action films of all time. And then later on, it was followed up by Predator 2, starring Danny Glover, and it did not have Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. And then, a number of years down the road, we ended up getting Predators. That's a plural. Predators starred Alice Braga, Topher Grace, Adrian Brody, and I actually found that one to be quite enjoyable. I liked that film. A lot of people didn't, but I actually really liked that film. I thought it was a good movie, and it rounded off the trilogy in being a good film. Now we have the fourth film. This one's directed by Shane Black, who directed Iron Man 3, which I liked, and then also The Nice Guys, which I thought was brilliant, and then he was also a star in one of the characters in the first Predator film. So I figured that, you know what? We got one of the stars of The Predator. We got also a really good storyteller, and he's going to give us a really good Predator film. So I'm looking forward to this. So let me first give you my expectations, and I'll let you guys know what I think afterwards. So my expectations for this film was that I expect it to be good. I expect myself to find it more enjoyable than Predators, which is the third one. I expect a lot of killing, a lot of bloody killing. And I expected to introduce a lot of new elements in the Predator lore. So those are my expectations, but ultimately I expect it to be good. So I watched Predator, and that was pretty crappy. It wasn't a good film at all. I'm really quite disappointed. And I just kind of lost interest in the second to third act. The first act actually got me interested. I was intrigued. It started off with a bang, and I was thinking, as soon as the movie opened, I was just, in my mind, I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna like this film. I like how they're starting it off, and I kind of have a good feeling of where it's gonna go. It didn't go that way at all. Okay, well, some expectations were met. They introduced a lot of new elements about the Predator. There was definitely a lot of bloody violence in this film, a lot of Predator killings. But it wasn't better than the previous one. It wasn't better than any of the previous ones. This was actually pretty crappy. Like, I can go right ahead and tell you not to watch this film. I can just say that straight up right now. This was not a good film. Like, not even a good Predator film, and not even a good film. It was just a big mess. Anyways, let me tell you what I did like about this film. What I liked about this film, I like that it introduced new Predator lore, like interesting elements about the Predator lore. I like that there was a lot of bloody killing in this film. I like that the Predator is just really more, like, there was really a lot of bloody violence in this film, and it really kind of brings you back to the first one. And yeah, whenever you see that happen, all the Predator action, it's just like, oh, okay, that's cool. You know, I like that. You react to it, and I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that is about all I can tell you about what I really liked about this film. What did not work for me in The Predator? A whole lot of things did not work for me. Shane Black's direction did not work. I'm thinking, where are you going with this? Because the moment the movie starts, it looks great and promising, and then it just goes downhill and downhill and downhill and downhill. The homages didn't even work for me. The homages were thrown in your face. Like, really, really forced on you to make it feel like, okay, you know, like iconic lines from the first one, they just get thrown in there, and for no real reason. It's just, it almost feels like it's a, like breaking the fourth wall. Like, you know, did you catch that? I said a reference to the previous movie. So that did not work for me at all. The characters did not work for me at all either. Like, all these characters, like Keegan-Michael Key's character, Thomas Jane, they're all distinguishable, but they're just like caricatures of characters. You know what I'm saying? They're like cartoon versions. Like, they don't really do anything special. They're different in their personalities, but at the end of the day, they're really all the same and not very memorable. Not one stands out more than the other. As for, I don't even know the actor's name, Boyd something. As for his character, the main protagonist of the film, he's not that likable, really. There's nothing really about his character that I really, really liked. And here's the worst part about it. Olivia Munn's character. I thought she started off interesting, strong, but then later on, as the movie progressed, I just felt her character got more and more and more ridiculous and more ridiculous, to the point where her character is unbelievable. Like, there's no believability in her character and her character's abilities. So, like, this was a moment where they just took the strong female character representation and just like, they forgot everything about that. It's not about making these characters strong, but also believable. So they threw that one out the door. Now let's talk about the Predator itself. Even though I like some elements of the Predator, I felt that the violence, the level of bloody violence, was just too in your face. And I'm not saying that like, oh, it's too violent. No, it was to the point where it makes you feel like it's just, okay, we get it. You want to do the first one. Okay, you have achieved that, and now you're just going overboard. Now it's not even exciting anymore. The gimmick is gone. Like, the suspense factor is not even there. Like, it doesn't. I don't feel scared. I don't feel scared for our characters, and I don't feel excited anymore about when the Predator is gonna kill somebody, because like, I already know he's gonna make the humans or his human enemies into a bloody mess. Like, I already know that. It's just too much. So like, I felt that they really made that thing way too gimmicky. Like, it's too much. And then they introduced something like, this is not a real spoiler, but like the whole addition of dog predators was just silly. Like, what is the point? What is the point? When you watch this film and you see those dog predators, you're wondering, why are they even here? Why do they even exist? If you take them out, it's the same freaking film. So like, I think like it makes me wonder what was Fred Decker and Shane Black smoking when they decided to go with this direction. So yeah, that didn't work for me. There's, you know, they introduced a lot of new elements, then suddenly a lot of those new elements are just not cool anymore. For example, the plasma cannon. That's used to be a cool thing where you'd be like, oh man, you better run, it's gonna hit you. There's nothing exciting about that. New Predator tech, very cool in the introduction, but later on as it's used, it's like, it's not even exciting. Remember when in Predator 2 he threw the disc and then you see go around? Like, now, like, that is a moment of suspense. Like, it makes you feel that, okay, this weapon is one that's going to be memorable. There's really nothing there that's memorable, really. So it's really, really unfortunate. There's a very lack of Predator vision, something that made the very first one very, very suspenseful and mysterious. There's no mystery. There's no suspense. It's just like, it's like a slasher film, and then people get slashed one by one, like killed one by one, and we don't care. So there you have it. So overall, I'm gonna stick to Predator as being a trilogy. This fourth film, I'm not even gonna include in it. Just because it wasn't a very good film at all. I had not high expectations. I have certain expectations for this film, and they just were like, they just went out the door because I don't know what Shane Black was up to. I mean, he's made much better films in the past, but this is definitely not it. But hey, you got to make some good films, and then you got to make a bomb. So this is unfortunately that bomb, which is really quite disappointing. And it's not like it didn't feel like they even tried to make this film good. Like, they really did not try. Anyways, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10, and I feel like I'm being generous, and it's really only because there was the introduction of new Predator elements, and then there was a scene when the Predator wakes up. That was the best scene in the entire movie. That's it. Once you finish watching that scene, the rest of the movie's downhill. That's it. But I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Anyways, as always, if you enjoyed this review and you want to see more, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name's Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.